Congratulations
Thank you.
on 40 years
Yes, thank you
of the
very
Linder Farm
much.
Network here at Farmfest. You must have just been a glint in your father's eye.
You're very, very kind. Yes. Yeah, it's been great. No doubt about it. Well, we're going to have some guests come up on stage that you're going to be visiting with.
Okay.
And, you know, it is interesting. The cupcakes are more popular than I am. I figured that out right now.
Cupcakes are always more popular than human beings.
Yeah, they really do it. So
yeah, don't take offense.
Why don't we bring up some of our people from the crowd that want to come up and welcome you. Let's see. We have Kevin Papp. He's standing by. Doug Peterson. He's standing by, unless they're eating their cupcakes right now.
Now, let me explain.
And Kevin, come on over here.
Kevin,
come
of
on
course,
up. And here's a microphone for Kevin.
President of the Farm Bureau. I think everyone, our listeners on
We'll set
Linder
him
Farm
down
Network
right here.
know.
Why don't you take that microphone out of there?
Hi,
and
Kevin.
Al, you are the interviewer, and he's the interviewee.
Oh, okay.
How does that sound?
All right. So, Kevin, we have currently a little bit of a disagreement. Okay, so I want to talk about this.
Green or red?
The disagreement is the first time you gave me a Friend of the Farmer plaque, I said to you, and this was in my office in Washington, you gave me a Friend of the Farmer plaque, and I said, Kevin, this means so much to me. And you said, oh, don't get me wrong, this is just the way you voted. Now, my contention is that the subtext of that was, don't get me wrong, we don't like you, but you voted the right way, and then since, you've grown to like me. That's my interpretation of this. Now, what's yours?
Well, that part of it is accurate.
Is the part that you haven't grown to like me? Is that?
Yep, no, that I do. After I've seen you combine, I know that you've got some real skills outside of the political realm and others. But it's kind of like when I got asked one time on live radio, it's like, what would a Farm Bureau person be doing at an event with a Democrat? And my answer was the same, and it's the same every time since, is Minnesota Farm Bureau, we don't support Democrats. Minnesota Farm Bureau, we don't support Republicans.
Right.
We support Democrats who support agriculture, and we support Republicans who support agriculture. It's all about the voting record and things like that. When you have a positive voting record, we don't care who you are.
That's right. So it's really half true. I'm talking, but then you personally, my theory is that you've personally grown to like me. Partly was coming out, and I harvested some of your corn on the Franken 5. Can you explain the Franken 5?
Well, Senator Franken asked, could I get out in the combine and see exactly how the technology works, help explain biotechnology, the refuge rows, and things like that. So we saved 36 rows of corn, about 5 acres of corn. Now, every neighbor came up to me, and more importantly, my 25-year-old, and said, your combine must be broke. Can we come fix your combine? Can we help combine for you? Why are you the only one? Andy's like, how come we're the only ones with corn still in the field? What was still,
and this
leave
is
it for you.
Fairly late October, right?
Pretty late October.
And the worry was that the moisture content of the corn I would harvest would be lower, and the grain elevator would pay you less. And this was I was terrified that that's what would happen, and that the Franken 5 would become synonymous with the worst yielding corn on the Papp farm, and thus become synonymous among farmers in the Farm Bureau, which are most farmers in the state, is the Franken 5 is your worst 5 acres. Now this is how I was seeing this all through. Now fortunately, we got to the elevator and the moisture content was right on. It was perfect, right?
Yep. And what the people in the audience need to know about at the elevator is we went to the elevator, we weighed at the elevator, we tested the corn, we dumped the corn, and the senator was talking to the feed mill. And I said, well, I'll go weigh back the truck, and then we can take off. And Senator Franken said, well, wait, you can't do that. That wouldn't be fair. I was on the truck when we weighed full. I need to be in the truck when we weigh empty. And I thought to myself, why would a U.S. Senator know something like that? But it proved that you get agriculture. We appreciate that.
I think you've heard this story a million times before, and probably everybody in the barn has. But as far as knowing agriculture, I'll do this story again, and those who haven't heard it before can chime in. You know that I grew up in St. Louis Park, a suburb of Minneapolis, that my dad was a printing salesman. I knew nothing about agriculture growing up. And in fact, this is to anyone, when I was 8 years old and you asked me, where does food come from, guess what I would have said? No, I would have said the farm, because I wasn't a complete idiot.
That's correct.
And we also have Congressman Tim Walz with us today. You know, you act like you've done this before.
I used to have a radio show.
I know that.
And
I know that.
I also, these are my friends. These are my friends. Tim is a good friend. And he knows that I had books. We had books in the Franken household. We had a TV.
That's right.
Yeah.
You did. It's good to
shows-
see you again, Senator.
Good to see you.
Thanks for being out here.
Fabulous. It's always great to be here.
It's a great place to be.
Yeah, so you're, what's the hat? What's the hat?
1st Special Forces Division. These are the Green Berets up in Lewis McChord in Washington.
Oh, okay.
They had me come up there to view some of their training. I'm the House caucus chair of the Special Forces Caucus.
Okay.
That's where they gave it to me.
right.
And I think it makes me look younger. That's why I wear it.
It makes you look like you might have hair.
It is a cover. It's a cover.
A hat
hat.
is always
It's a hat
good.
cover.
A hat is usually a tip-off,
Yeah.
especially indoors like we are now, basically, that somebody doesn't have a lot of hair.
That's right.
Yeah, notice no hat
I
for
see
me.
that. I'm envious of that.
Notice the full head of thick,
It is. It is.
somewhat curly hair.
I told Congressman Walz to bring his A game here. You were going to ask some very deep, probing questions.
Okay, let's see.
See?
A game. So, what are we going to do about the margin protection program?
Well, first of all, you heard Colin talk about it it's not working the way we thought it would. We wrote that farm bill in a good year, and that's always a mistake. If you write a farm bill in a good year, it's going to be trouble because we know the bad years are coming. But the good part about this is it's now farm bill time. And I got asked the question several times. All of you, we need to start speaking up. We need to write the next farm bill now. We need to make sure, as I said when the question got asked of us, are you concerned that the presidential candidates aren't talking about agriculture? And I said not particularly, because farm policy has historically originated in Congress through the House and through the Senate. And so we'll fix that piece because it's not working exactly the way it should for folks.
I thought the debate here earlier, which Doug here was part of as a questioner, Doug Peterson, and you were on the panel here. I thought that was a good discussion, and I thought that it was clear. You know, as a guy, you know, I joke about what I knew growing up about ag, but you grew up on a farm in Nebraska. I actually was a suburban boy and did not know much about ag at all, but 1 out of 5 jobs in Minnesota is tied to agriculture. And Doug, you helped me a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
And the Farmers Union, and but it really, this is an area, and I'm not on the ag committee, but 1 out of 5 jobs in Minnesota tied to ag. You got to know this stuff, and it really, you can see someone like Colin who knows this inside out.
You have to, and I think people here expect that. The interesting thing is the intersection. Some of you from around the area, especially in southern Minnesota, the business community, along with the higher ed community, along with the producers, created and branded the Mankato region, not just Mankato, the entire region stretching through south central Minnesota, as green seam. And what they're doing with that is their attempt, because it's already there, is southern Minnesota is the Silicon Valley of agricultural production and innovation. And what they're trying to do is marry this idea of technology companies coming in, of researchers coming in, of new ways of doing business, and all of that is leading. The Mankato area has the strongest economic growth of any city in the entire upper Midwest, and it's top 10 in the nation. That's being driven by agriculture. And the problem that most people are having, and this is what we talked about today, is most people don't understand it. Agriculture is the unseen engine that's driving all the economy in south central Minnesota, and so people are recognizing that. So it's a real positive and opportunities, I think, for growth.
Great. I couldn't agree more. And what a lot of this innovation, I got to go to Doug Peterson, president of the Farmers Union. I know, Lynn. I've known Doug.
I'm your producer.
No, I wasn't going to say Farm Bureau. I know the Farmers Union, and they endorsed me the first time. So, and Doug's been a friend for a long, long time.
Thank you.
So, let me ask you about this latest compromise on GMO labeling. How did the Farmers Union officially feel about that? I voted for it. I felt this, and tell me what you agree with and don't agree with.
Okay.
I felt that we didn't want 50 different requirements for food labeling. That was an impossible situation for people who package and produce food producers. And people have a right to know what's in their food. But also, the National Academy of Sciences has looked at all the literature and said GMOs do not have any harmful health effects. So I felt that this compromise worked. People will be able to see whether GMOs, because most people wanted that, they'll be able to see it. But I think that we have to go with the science, and the science shows no evidence that that GMOs are in any way harmful to anybody's health.
Okay, so on GMO, in our organization, the national organization, the state organization says there should be a label.
You want a
but it
physical
doesn't-
label?
Yeah, we don't specifically say, but it should say, and it should be labeled GMO. Now, you've got a QRC code, I believe, which seems to be the direction where people are going. The issue that I have is...
That was the compromise we could
Right.
get to, where the people who are opposed to putting any labeling on at all would go to that. And it basically says if you have a smartphone, you really, really want to know, you can do it. And this is going to be, it's going to take a year, I think, to implement, and then 2 years.
2 years.
And then we'll see how it works. But if you really want to know whether there's GMO in a product that you're going to go buy, you can do it. It's a little bit more burdensome to the shopper, but this is a step in the right direction.
Well, there are 60 countries that already have a GMO label. I've always, I've farmed for years. I have nothing to hide. If I choose a GMO product, triple stack or whatever it happens to be, I have nothing to hide.
So we're in slight
Give me some
disagreement here.
transparency,
Okay.
that's all.
So what I want to ask here, Lynn, if I can just have 1 second, because this is very curious to me, because we are really, really good friends, and usually in not lockstep, but close to lockstep on ag issues. So you came down different on this, but let's say...
Personally, against...
No, but let's
Okay.
say you had the vote. Let's say you're a senator, and I think this is a good thought experiment for everybody here. You are a senator, and you know that unless we do this compromise, nothing passes, and you have the 50-state thing. Would you have voted how I voted, or would you have voted no?
I probably would have voted along your lines.
There we go. That's all I wanted to hear. Go ahead, Lynn.
But however, the issue ends up, we have healthy products, we have a different consumer, we have a different society that's interested in a right to know, transparency, and all of those things. And I have an issue personally with the QRC code.
I understand.
Just put GMO. Now, give me a couple years, or not myself, but let us develop a sound procedure for that label. And there are ways of marketing, there are lots of other things and opportunities within that label that I think American farmers and industry and food industry people are going to grab onto. But, if it's a labeling industry market piece, we need to get that on a level playing field. So, personally, I think if it contains GMO, just put GMO in the label.
Okay, I think Lynn, I'm feeling like Lynn wants to get us moving.
I do. Well, that's okay. You know, Doug, we want to thank you for coming up, and we're
Okay.
going to replace you with the Commissioner of Agriculture. And Commissioner, we're going to have you in the game show here.
What?
Okay, here are your questions. Now, don't let them see the answer.
This seems unfair.
Okay,
It's
now-
Dave Frederickson
Hi, don't let
is
him
sitting
peek
with us,
because
the
they'll
Commissioner of Agriculture.
Now,
And
the way
it's-
this works
Yeah.
is you read the question, and the first one that knows the answer rings the bell, but you then read all of the answers before they answer.
Okay,
Got it?
here's my question.
Okay.
No.
Are you ready?
But wait a minute. Here's
For
my.
our game show.
Okay, well,
Here we go.
I wouldn't hear it for the game show yet because we don't know how this is going to go. Okay, because I have a really interesting thing on how these guys are going to game the bell. Okay, we're known as the land of 10,000 lakes. How many lakes, 10,000 acres or more, are there really in Minnesota? A, 11,842. B, 10,000.
Well, you gotta wait till he finishes it.
See, you see? Didn't I say at the beginning? You're saying not A? Okay, well, you're really wrong.
Okay.
Okay, it is A. 11,000. No, how?
10 acres.
10 acres or more.
That's not what you said.
That's what I said. No, I said we have 10,000 lakes. How many
Congressman.
lakes? Did I say 10,000 acres? Okay, well then.
Congressman, you're a teacher. The first thing you should do is listen.
Okay. Well, I don't know what I said. I mean, I assume I said what's written here, but I might not have. Let's go to the next question. What was Minnesota almost called when the territory needed a name? A, Ufta. B, Itasca. C, Little Scandinavia. Okay, that was a tie. So, Itasca. Yeah, so that's now you're one each. I'm going to give you one each. Okay, because that was a tie, you know, just rough justice. What southern Minnesota town was made famous by the Little House series of books written by Laura Ingalls? I have Dave.
Walnut Grove.
That's right. And this is this is not even multiple choice anymore.
I think he's peeking at the answers.
No, he's smart.
Smart.
Okay, it's his old Senate district. Name the largest shopping mall in Minnesota. Tim.
All of America.
Yes, boy, you're brilliant. What does the SP in spam stand for?
Oh, no. Specific pathogenic.
Wow, that is really a bad choice.
That's a terrible answer.
They never would have done that. You know, this is a multiple choice. This is a multiple choice. St. Paul, spiced.
Spice.
You're right. You got B. No, that's he said the answer. Okay. What is the stage name of former Duluth recording artist Robert? Bob Dylan. Would you have
Into the
said?
microphone,
Would,
Jake.
Bob Dylan.
if I had not said Robert, would you have said John Denver?
Senator, thank you for killing my health care plan. Thank
Oh,
you.
you know what?
Okay, it's a performance artist here. What Minnesota company invented Scotch tape? Okay, this is Tim.
3M.
That's right. Okay, so I think we're tied still. What national discount store has its headquarters in Minneapolis, Minnesota? Kmart, Target, Walmart. Tim. Target. Boy, these are really.
Shopping theme here.
Yeah, this is. I could have answered these questions. Name the first Minnesotan to fly solo across the Atlantic. Okay,
Charles Lindbergh.
very good.
Charles Lindbergh. Look,
General Miller.
Charles Lindbergh. Yeah, I had that one.
General Mills of Golden Valley created what fictional spokeswoman in the 1920s?
Betty Crocker.
That's right.
wow.
And the other choices were Aunt Jemima or the Pillsbury Doughboy.
No.
I'm getting
I
kicked
don't-
here.
And I think you could have ruled out the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Yes.
Unless, you know, he was transgender.
I think
don't
the
know.
congressman's finally got focused here, hasn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
This is a real hard one.
Okay, here's one that you. Okay, what's the answer to the question, Dave? You rang in. You
Paul
didn't.
Bunyan.
Okay, no, you don't answer for him. He rang in. You have. This is going to be an easy. This was going to be easy if you knew the question, but you rang in before the question was asked. So think of what could be very easy, and then answer it. But you rang before the question, so you're really screwed. You're just screwed.
Okay. Christmas trees.
God, that's right. No. It's who is the current governor of Minnesota? And it's multiple choice. Jesse Ventura, A. B. Arnie Carlson, C. Mark Dayton.
I need this. I need this.
Okay,
Mark Dayton.
I don't know.
I knew that.
No, I'll let you answer it, Dave, because you work for the guy. Okay, it's Mark Dayton, of course. What comic strip? Go ahead.
Peanuts.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, let's see how little I can read before you know this. What Minnesota company manufactures not only high school and college class rings?
Jostens.
There we go.
Well done.
Now we figured out what the game
That was
should
well
be.
done.
Okay, what cartoon characters live in Frostbite Falls? Okay, what?
Rocky and Bullwinkle.
That's right.
Whoa, these guys are good.
Okay, this one, I'd like to see who rings in first. Which of these cities is the capital of Minnesota? Dave.
St. Paul.
That's
Minnesota.
right. That's right. Let's hear it for Dave getting that one right. Okay, which team did the U.S. Olympic hockey team, a collection of amateur and college players, many from Minnesota, defeat to win the gold medal at, okay, Dave?
Russia.
Wrong. Sweden.
Wrong.
Sweden.
Wrong. It was Finland.
Oh, God!
Wow.
That was the play-in game.
That's a point for me.
Oh, that is.
What Minnesota company was the largest producer of underwear under a single...
Munsingwear.
That's it.
That's a good one.
I know my underwear.
And you know who the winner is? The audience. For having to sit through that and not leaving.
It's over?
Thank you, audience, for not leaving during that. Tim, Dave, good to see you guys.
Stay right there.
You know, I used to get paid for this, Lynn.
You know, you are going to get paid all the cupcakes you can eat.
Okay, well.
And by the way, if you haven't had a cupcake, right over here, free cupcakes from the Linder Farm Network.
To celebrate
And
their 40th birthday here
40th
at
birthday.
Farmfest.
And
Quite an achievement.
we're going to bring Mark Nisley up on stage. We have Colin. Colin, why don't you sit down right here?
Hi, Collins.
Okay. Mark, where are
And
you at?
you are-
Mark Nisley
I'm hot.
is going
You're
to
hot.
join us.
I need to get air conditioning.
Okay. All right, Mark, you're going to sit
Explain
down
the
right
long
here.
sleeve shirt.
And you're right
Explain
here.
the long sleeve shirt.
Okay, scoot up there. I'll
Yeah,
give you the
okay.
microphone here. Now,
Hey, Mark.
we go on the air in about 2 minutes, back on the air, and Mark is one of our really great sponsors. He's up here with you, Senator.
Okay.
You know all about that kind of stuff. We have,
Sure.
It's
You have
great to have him.
sponsors.
And Mark is one of the great supporters of agriculture. So we're going to have.
But we've
a
been
strip.
on the air. I
Yes,
mean,
we
what
have.
just because.
Well, yeah, but we're
Because I
taking
was
a
going to
break
say,
right
if
now.
I was going to say, if we weren't on the air, why was I being charming?
Well, you were being very charming. Yeah, this
I
is
know
our
I was, and if we weren't on the air, it would be a waste.
This is our commercial break right now.
Okay, I
so
got it.
we
So
come
right-
back on. We're going to officially open
I
up
got
the
it.
next program here in about 2 minutes. What do we have, guys? Okay, we've got about 2 minutes.
How you doing, sir?
You guys know each other, okay? So get ready. We're moving into the midday farm review here in about 2 minutes right now. Al, it's great having you. You are very comfortable in the radio role. I can see that. You did that. How many years were you on Air America?
I hosted a show for 3 years.
Yep.
And I was in show business before that as well.
Well, I know that.
Yeah, I
Yep.
used to be in show business. So,
What are you in now?
well, as people say, you know what though? I got to say, being in Congress is very different than being in show business. It really is, and it's guys like Colin Peterson, in all seriousness, who focus on the work and do the work that creates the kind of policy that keeps farmers farming and keeps our country the leading agricultural producer in the world. So it's a lot different than show business.
Right. Okay, I'm awaiting my cue. Do we have to get back on the air? What do we need here? We're going to work off about 5 pounds here during this show, aren't we?
It's a little hot up
and
here.
we've got our
but
guest
it's
market
not-
guy. We've got Colin Peterson. So stand by, and I will throw it to Mark, and then you guys are going to visit a little bit here. So
We're not in the
Okay.
field working.
you two are
This
going to
isn't
be
like
visiting with each other.
Yeah, I know. This isn't a century ago. We can't complain.
Yeah.
Is what I'm
okay.
saying.
This is
Right?
this
What's
is
Colin doing during this little thing?
this is actually the we are the #1 farm entity in the United States in terms of percentage of audience. Over 80% of the farmers.
Linder Farm Network.
Yeah. So this is old-fashioned radio at its best here.
I
Yeah.
love radio. I love
Yeah.
radio.
So anyway, and it's
And
guys like
you've got
you
a
that-
script here.
It's guys like you that make this happen. So
Okay, I did not write this.
no, well, that's
Okay.
okay. I wrote it.